In this detailed how-to, we're going to take a deep dive in how to integrate predictive dialer calls in BABELFORCE with tickets in Freshdesk. Okay, just let's summarize the aim we have here. For every predictive dialer call that connects to an agent, we want to do two things. We want to have the data pushed in real time to the agent so they can greet the caller, they can start the process off straight away. And secondly, we want to add the data that's to persist in the Freshdesk ticket. Alright, so that's what this is all about. You'll be able to do all that when this is finished. And there's going to be 4 steps to achieve that. First, we're going to look at how a campaign for predictive dialer and the list for it are set up in BABELFORCE. Then we're going to look at the trigger so that the actions only happen for your particular dialer setup, your particular dialer campaign. Then we're going to look at how to test and evaluate values in the system while you're debugging your config. And finally, we're going to define the actions on integrations, particularly for the Freshdesk tickets. Step by step, 4 steps. Now let's get started. Step 1 is about the campaign. Now just to recap, any predictive dialer campaign is going to use a list as its basis, and the list is going to be inside the structure called the campaign. Every time that an item on the list has the right attributes, it'll be called and it will connect to an agent, and we'll only do the calls if we can connect to the agent. Now when the agent connects, they're going to need the information that they need for the call. Okay, that's the basics, what it's all about. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at our campaign setup. Now I've got multiple campaigns in here, but it's this particular one that we're going to use. Now a campaign itself is just a very simple entry. In this case, I've got it set to use test mode. That means I can safely test, and we will simulate, BABELFORCE platform will simulate that there are callers being called. So it's not going to call anybody for real. You can leave it in test mode until you're ready to put a campaign live. If we take a look at the list that it refers to, so a campaign just refers to a linked list, and the list is the most important thing really from your point of view. So this is the list that you've uploaded to your campaign. So how do you get that in there? Well, you just take a list like this one. So this is the exact list that I uploaded. You can see the first name, last name, the special category, the phone numbers to be dialed, that they were just uploaded in the list. And you just load more contacts, you upload the list, and it will automatically add them to the right category if you've got the categories set. Okay, so that's how you set up your list and your campaign. Once you have that, step 1 is done. Okay, the next thing is you need a trigger. Give it a good name. So dialer call using sales outreach campaign. And it's only got one condition in it. Basically what it does is it says test to see that the outbound dialer campaign name is equal to sales outreach. And why sales outreach? Because that's the name of our campaign. Then any automation I create with this trigger is only going to fire if that particular campaign is being used, and then only in the context that we're going to set. Now the next thing we're going to look at is how do we actually see what's going on while the dialer is active? Okay, how can we actually get the data from the system? So that's step 3. And this is really the core of how to test and evaluate and build things. This is how you debug essentially. It's one of the common ways to debug. All right, the first thing we need to do is learn how to evaluate the values in the system so that we can see what's going on while our dialer calls are taking place. So to do that, it's very simple. Okay, so I'm going to send myself an email. Now this is the important thing. I'm sending myself simply core.expressions inside this placeholder evaluation, which is the squiggly brackets. Basically, this is just going to, we'll see it in a minute, we'll test it. It's going to send me an email when the dialer call bridges. Now, how do I know it's the dialer call? Because I'm going to use the trigger we created earlier. This trigger is going to test to make sure that the particular context we're in is a dialer call. Okay, once we have this, we can actually start doing calls, and we can take a look at what values come out of the system. Okay, let's do that. So to do that, we need to be inside Freshdesk. So here I am. I'm logged in as an agent in Freshdesk. I'm in the Babel Connect app, which is for the agent to use, right? It just floats here over the Freshdesk surface. And I need to go into the particular campaign. That's all the agent has to do. So I'm going to go into my sales outreach. That was the name of the campaign. I'm going to enter the campaign. It's going to connect to me on my phone. So it's going to connect on whatever device you're on, and it gives you an audio prompt to tell you that you're inside the call. Okay, now I'm connected, and it's not going to do anything yet. When I resume campaign, it's going to start automatically looking for who needs to be called, if there are callbacks or whatever's on the list. Right? We looked at the list earlier, so it's just going to go through that list of 500 different contacts, and it's going to try and reach one for me. Okay, so let's see what happens. So we can see one agent is waiting. It's going to start making calls in the background. Sometimes it's really, really fast, so it might immediately change to giving me a call. There, one call is being placed now to try and find it, and I'm connected. So now I'm connected to Adriana. Now you saw this came really fast, right? It comes with the call. When I hear the audio prompt in my ear that the call is being connected as an agent, I'm going to also get this data. So I can say, hi Adriana, or hi Miss Dixon, whatever the particular thing I need to do is. This category code here can tell me as an agent what thing I'm supposed to do, and of course I can send more information if I like, right? So you can have as much information appearing here as is necessary so that the agent knows which process to do. Right? So I'm going to leave this call active for a moment, and I'm just going to have a look and see if I got that email. This email has all the values of the system. Okay, I'm looking for this section here. OBD stands for outbound dialer. OBD lead.firstname is Adriana. So OBD.lead.firstname is going to evaluate to Adriana, and last name to Dixon, right? My category to this category code. So that's how I get that information. Okay, I can see what's going on. Okay, then that's step 3. So I'm going to get one of those emails for every single dialer call I do. Step 4 is to look at the actual integrations and events that are going to be used. I'm going to use 2 integrations for this purpose. So one integration I'm going to use is Freshdesk. Let's just test that that's working. Yeah, that's working. And I'm going to use a BABELFORCE services integration. Let's test it, that's working. Okay, that one is not authorized, so let's just authorize that. I already have my credentials in here. I just need to get the OAuth token that gives me access to. Now, this integration is going to be used so I can push data to the BABELFORCE agent. So that's an integration to the BABELFORCE account itself, just so you can use the API and so on. And the other one is the main Freshdesk integration we're going to use. Okay, so those are the 2 integrations. And then we're going to look at the events. Okay, we already looked at the email event, so we can ignore that one now. These are the other events that we're going to need to use. So the first event that we need is this. What we're going to say is on call bridged means when the call is actually connected to the agent, we're going to create a ticket. We're going to use the same trigger we used earlier to make sure that it only fires for our particular campaign. So this is only when a call connects to an agent in this particular campaign. It's going to use the Ava Freshdesk integration we just looked at, and it's going to put in some tags. OB dialer call, sales outreach, right? That's the create ticket. Then the second thing we want to do is we want to push the data to the agent on the outbound call, and we want that to happen immediately. So let's see what that does. Uses the same trigger. It's also on call bridged. It's going to push data to the agent, and here is where I use the agent ID. Agent.id was one of the values that was sent to me in the email. That's the ID of the agent who takes the call on BABELFORCE. And this is using the BABELFORCE integration. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send the ticket number. This is the missing piece of information that I didn't have, and this is one of the expressions I can evaluate, integration.freshdesk.ticket.id. That's going to be the value of the ticket, so the number actually of the ticket that was created in the previous step. Okay, perfect. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the data to the Freshdesk ticket as a note, and it's going to be added as a private note. So again, on call bridged. So all of these events are going to happen on call bridged. I'm going to choose, what I've chosen here is among the Freshdesk particular actions, I'm going to choose add a note to the ticket. Again, I'm using the Freshdesk integration. I'm using the same integration.freshdesk.ticketID, which contains the ID of the particular ticket. And I'm going to put in a whole bunch of information. Okay, now this is again back to the email we looked at a moment ago. And if you evaluate the expressions, then that expression is going to contain Adriana. So now in the ticket, I'm going to permanently store the information that I need in the ticket later. Okay, so first name, Adriana. Last name is going to evaluate to Dixon. Okay. We dial them at this. Okay, our category code is obd.lead.my. Okay, so these are just all the values. So you put in whatever values you want. Now I've done a very simple little bit of HTML just to format it. Obviously you can do whatever you like. So those are the three things we need. Now I just want to contrast with the first one here. We're not using this particular event trigger action definition. It's also on call bridged. So I just want to illustrate why it's important to differentiate what to fire using the triggers. So if you didn't have the different triggers for selecting just the context where your campaign is active, then this one would fire as well for the call bridge state. Although call bridged event is going to be active when the call connects, this one is not going to fire because this trigger is not going to be true. So that's how you make sure that only the data you want gets in there. Let's go back to Freshdesk. I'm going to end this call. So Adriana, the call with Adriana is going to be finished. Let's say Adriana actually wanted to buy whatever I'm selling. So sale essentially means success in the system. You can use it for whatever kind of success metric you want. Okay, now it's looking for another call for me. There's one call being placed already. It's pretty fast. Okay, and I'm through to Cara. I would now greet Cara. Okay, what would I expect to see then? So two things I expect to see. One is that the ticket number is now being pushed, 455. Okay. And if we look at the two new tickets that are here, then I think when it reloads here, one of those is 455. We look at 455. Then it's going to be the ticket that I need for the call.